Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can deploy your Angular application into Azure Web App, but this time I'm going to show you the new way of and the correct way of doing the CI/CD pipeline using the service principle, as well as we will have multi-stage deployment. We will have development, QA, stage, production. So we're going to deploy those things into 4 different slots. And this is something that you guys were asking, so come, let's take a look. So friends, before we dive in, this is the GitHub link where you will find every single project that I'm demonstrating. So feel free to go through and browse whichever project you like. For this specific video, I will post the exact link of the repository in the video description itself. If you would like to follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and GitHub, these are the links that you can click and follow me. I will be more than happy to collaborate with you, so don't forget to follow me. Now let's dive into the video. Prerequisites is you should have an account in Azure DevOps and then Azure Portal. Prefer to have the same name, and then you create 4 free web apps in Azure and then use the GitHub code that is there in my repository. I already created 2 Azure web apps and I'm going to create 2 more quickly in this video. Come, let's see. This is the one. So let's quickly see how I'm creating another 2 things. So here you can see I'm creating a web app. The important thing that you need to understand here is when you come to the deployment settings, see, basic authentication is default by disabled, like it's disabled by default, and leave it that way. Do not do anything other than disabling thing, because we used to create these things, and the basic authentication where we used to do a FTP upload. We're not going to do all of those things. We're going to follow the industry standard and the secure way of doing it, like without any credential. That's called the service principle, right? So this is whatever I'm showing you right now. It's just that how you create. We already have seen enough videos of creating web app, so do not enable the basic authentication. I'm going to create 2 things. The first one that you saw that I was creating is the staging. Next one, same thing, I'm going to choose Windows. I'm going to have this as production. Like I said, I already have 2 more things. One is for the Windows based and one is for the Linux. Okay, so we have 4 different Azure App Service web app. 3 will be Windows, 1 will be Linux. Okay, and I'm going to show you how we configure these 4 different sites in our CI/CD pipeline. Okay, as we speak, this is the last piece. I'm going to give some tag just for understanding purpose, right? You have other videos in my channel. You can see how to create a Azure web app from the scratch. So let's get into the. So if you see, I'll show you the 4 things. I logged into this portal, and if you filter it with align it with the types, you can see I have the LSE expense tracker web. And I'm gonna refresh this. See, web, production, stage, and there is another one called Win. So basically the first one is the Linux, the other 3 are Windows. Now go to dev.azure.com. Here my repository is in this Azure DevOps. Okay, we're not going to see how the GitHub action is going to work, but its concept is all same. Let's take a look at using Azure DevOps this time. So I have the organization, I have the project. Inside this project, I have my completed web Angular code. Like this is the repository. So the repository is basically expense tracker web, and if I go there, you will see my source code here, right? I mean, of course you cannot see, but I'm going to give the same source code in the GitHub repository. You can go and take a look, like you can download and put it into your site. So what you wanted to know was, if you go to package.json, these are the scripts that I added. Okay, as we speak, as of this recording, there is no such thing in GitHub, but I will add those things. Okay, say this is the GitHub repository. If you go to GitHub repository, under this repository there is a working ADB2C code, Angular 18. However, in the package.json you will not find that script. Maybe when you watch this video you will find it, right? So I'm going to add those script into this file, which means like I will add everything that is required for you to take and build the project. Okay, that's what you want. This video is all about understanding, and this video is all about understanding how you can create CI/CD pipeline for Angular. Now let's go to pipelines and click on new pipeline. Pipeline is first build process, next only deployment process. So CI stands for continuous integration, CD stands for continuous deployment. So we are in the CI pipeline, like CI CD. So there are various way of choosing the repository. You can choose the repository from that GitHub, or you can choose GitHub. Like for the first one is the Azure DevOps, then GitHub packet. There are many sources. The two ways. The first way is YAML file configuration. The other one is very classic editor. Let's not dig into classic. We have enough videos on classic. We are now going to focus on YAML configuration, which is easy. You just need to know what goes what. Okay, so I clicked on the first one and then I'm going to choose the project now. Okay, just follow the prompt that the site is giving. So once you choose the repository, it is actually taking a look at all the code, and it is finding out what is required, and it will ask you some suggestions which kind of project it is, right? And then I choose this Angular with Node.js, which is true. It gave me some script, right? Let's go through each of these items and then modify as we need. The first one is a trigger. It is saying trigger is based on the main branch, and then it is going to use the Ubuntu latest server. Like the Ubuntu latest is the one which is going to be used for building, and then it's going to install the Node.js. We want 18, so that's why I changed from 10 to 18. So install node.js, it's going to install that, and then there's a script. In the script, imagine whatever the file is doing is basically, if you have to set up everything from your machine, what and all you'll do, you have to install Node.js, you need to install the Angular CLI. That's what these things that you see on my screen is doing. The next thing is to build the project itself, right? So I'm going to rename the display name, because here we are dealing only with the dependencies. In order for our project to build, we need to have these two dependencies. I'm not going to copy paste a piece of script, and I'll explain you what it is after you do these two things. Now next is to build your project, right? So in order to build a project, you need to specify what script you need to run to build a project. I showed you already. There is something under the package.json under the script. So let's take a look. I'm gonna do some alignment here. Like I said, YAML file is easy. It all deals with the alignment. It has to have its proper indentation. If it doesn't have, it will show you these kind of error. So I'm gonna delete and go back, and then make sure the script is good. All right, so the error is gone. The second one also has indentation, so I will just move to left side. Great. So what it is doing is npm run build prod. Npm run is okay, followed by the build prod. From where this is coming? So if I go to the GitHub, like I said, as of this recording, there is no such thing under the script. But if I open up my repository and show you where is this coming, because the code base, under the code base, under the packet.json, under the script, this one should be there. Okay, I'll make sure this is available in GitHub repository. If not, the same stuff is there in my other web project also. Feel free to take a look at the description. So I'm going to use that. So I'm saying, hey, after you do the first two steps, now build the project, but use this configuration npm run, use the configuration specified in a script called build prod. After that, we need to bundle up whatever has built and put it as the artifact. Okay, so that is the next step. You see, the next one is publishing the build artifacts input. It is saying go and take all of the code from here. Okay, where is this coming from? This is coming from angular.json. If you go to angular.json, okay, this disk slash the project name, based on your project the name will change. Okay, and then you can also change the name according to how you wish. So output path is something that you can find it here. You copy. Okay, I copied from where this browser is coming. All right, so I built it manually in the local, and I saw they are all bundled up under the folder called browser. That's why I know for sure the content is coming inside the browser folder. So I gave this whole thing. Now, so artifact name, published location, everything is good. Now it's ready to save, so that this YAML file has the configuration to build the Angular application. Okay, I'm going to put this as whatever this name of the file. I'm going to save and run. So I'm going to save this. Like this is just a demo, so I'm going to put it into the main branch directly. I can pull a request. I can actually create a new branch and pull a request. It makes no difference. Anyway, this file is going to be in the project in order for the build to work. So I'm creating the pipeline. It is committing to the main branch and the job has been started. So here it will give you step by step of what we did. We did a lot of stuff. You see this, all of these things has been successfully ran. To save some time, I just paused and showed you. And then here important thing is the build artifacts, right? So after you build the project, the artifact has to be zipped, and we will see this where the zip file is used. All right, so we have the build now. Okay, I am going to rename this and put it into one folder just for keeping it neat and clean under my the build content. So I can go here, do a rename move, and I can rename and put it into a particular folder. So I'm going to put this under the demo folder and rename this as demo. All right, so great. So our build is good. Next is our release pipeline. So CI is done, CD is what we are going to do. Okay, now let's click on the release. The moment you click on release, you can see all of my existing release stuff. What you're going to do is click on new and say new release pipeline. Okay, now here is the thing, right? Just pay attention. The first thing that you're going to select is the Azure App Deployment Service, like Azure App Service Deployment. Once you have this, you can name according to your release name. Like I'm going to give you some meaningful name, expense tracker web, and it's a CD. So CD/demo, I mean like -demo. Now the first thing is to select the artifacts. Click on the artifacts, select the project, select the repository, and then, or like not repository, basically the build that was triggered. The build is under demo folder under that, so I selected that and artifacts were automatically selected. Next thing is our stages nothing but various thing it denotes about the servers, like the development, QA stage, production, UAT, whatever you can name it, right? So first one, I'm going to name this as dev, which is development, and then you click on one job, the link that talks about the job. See here, this stage is development. Generally what we do in company, after you finish your local testing, we will have to deploy the code to the development environment. And then so I choose the name, and here you see this Azure subscription. It talks about available Azure service connection. I have a lot of things I can select, but this is not the goal. The goal is to make sure I make you understand. Click on manage, and here you see this under the project, under the settings, there is something called service connection. Okay, so basically service connection is like you are making this one and the Azure portal linked. So for that, first we have to choose Azure Resource Manager. So basically we're not going to use any credentials like no FTP, username, password, nothing. It's going to use using the service principal. You see this, the moment you choose that, the next one is service principal. Okay, the various way, but the one is service principal. Service principal means once we make this to connection trusted, the Azure DevOps will request for a new token to the Azure AD, and it knows who is coming and what permission was given. Okay, this way we avoid the username, password, or any credential in it. So I choose the scope. Scope means at which level you want to create the service connection. See, in company in general, right, based on the project, based on their subscription, it will be very specific to a resource group. They'll give you the service connection. Somebody from the DevOps team will create a service connection where whoever is configuring the CI/CD will be able to use that. So this pipeline is going to react and give permission only to this resource group. So in this case, I am choosing my subscription, the one that you saw. Then it is asking me to authenticate once I choose a subscription. All right. So once I give my email ID, which is nothing but the email ID that I use to connect to my azure.portal.com, it is going to send me some notification. This is basically the MFA authentication. As long as you're logged in, it will know now, okay, this Azure DevOps has connection to this Azure portal. So the connection is established. Okay, after that, it will allow us to do a couple of important things. So now, based on the subscription, it will list down all the resource groups. So our resource group is expense tracker RG, and here you give a service connection name, which is in general in company they will give in an understandable way that is easily can be read and understand that okay, this is a service connection established for so and so project or that particular group. So any resource that is under particular group, it has connection to it, like it has full authentication to do authorization to do anything it wants, right? So once I give the name, I give some description. So what I'm going to do here, basically for that subscription, for this resource group which is coming under the subscription, I'm creating a service connection. This service connection, which means Azure DevOps has access to any resource that is available under this resource group. The moment I say grant access permission to all the pipelines, any pipeline in future if I create and then use this service connection, those pipelines will have access to this resource group completely. If the resource group is no more, connection is waste. That's okay. But basically, we established a successful service principle. Now you choose and come and see whatever you created is there. So we created this service connection expense transfer, that's for the project, and this is demo. So now I get to choose what type of Azure app, meaning is my app is Windows based or Linux based. Like I said initially, I have four things. Three is Windows and one is Linux. Okay, so based on what you choose, it will show up the a name of the application, like the name of the Azure Web App. So in this case, I'm going to choose Linux. Windows, like the dev environment is Linux. And then for Linux alone, right, in order for our Angular app to start, there is a startup command. Okay, this is not applicable for Windows iOS, but for Linux, it is there. Basically, we are saying, hey, run the HTTP server using the npx thing, run the code from this location, port is 8080. That is what this command means. Now you choose this the next one, and then let's keep verifying. So we have the display name, we have connection type, we have what kind of service type, everything is there. The one thing which is missing is packages or folder. See, in the packages or folder, basically we need to say, hey, unzip or take the code content from this so and so location, and you're going to deploy that. So the moment I choose this, it is listing the artifacts that we choose, and then I choose until drop anything until under the drop folder, every content is required. So I copied it, and then we're all good. Runtime stack, we don't need it, and then this is good. So we can save this. You can have the startup command. Everything looks good. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to save this under a folder, probably demo folder or expense. Okay, the folder name was expense tracker. You can name according to you want, however you want. This is just for demo. I'm just putting it under a folder, right? So we're good. Now we're not going to create release. We're going to go to the pipeline, and I'll show you how multi-stage pipelines are done. See here, this is the stage, right? Stage means each environment, each, like, you're in the line, you're moving forward, that's called stage, right? So right now we have one stage called development. If I click here as like clone, it will come to the parallel, like one after the other, but we want something in parallel. So I click on stage in the top, and I choose Azure app deployment. See, what I'm trying to do is, when first time it is deploying, I want it to be deployed to the QA as well as the development environment parallelly. Okay, according to the need, it differs, but generally speaking, it goes to dev and then followed by the QA. If the dev works perfectly, they approve it and then it goes to QA. But I'm just showing you how parallel also can work. So this way, I'm going to choose everything exactly same. And this time I'm going to choose as Windows, because our development environment has Linux, so I'm going to choose a different one, so you can see all of those things in action. All right, so here I can see only three, like basically it was listing four because one is the API one. So I have chosen this, and here startup command is not required. Again, even for this, we need to choose which content to be deployed. So the artifacts that we have to choose that from the packages or folder location. All right, so that is what we did. You remember the packages or folder you used to go and choose the drop? Exactly same thing we have to do. So go click artifact is listed, click until drop, and then say OK. So any content under the drop folder is going to be taken. This looks good. So we have two deployment under one release pipeline, which is development and QA. But you guys want more. Let's talk about stage environment, or also called as UAT, user acceptance test. That's what company follows. Depends on the project, they call UAT as well as staging. So I'm going to choose the same thing, but this time I wanted to do this after the QA deployment is successful. Okay, so whatever I did is not correct because it's going to be after the development. So I click here, click on add. You see the line started from the QA. So I'm going to choose and do the same thing, but this time this is going to be called as UAT or staging environment. Alright, so I will call it as UAT for time being, and then rest of the work, whatever we did, everything we have to do again. So we choose the existing service connection, which is our service principal. After that, we choose which app. In our case, it is Windows. It is going to list down all the Windows app. I'm going to choose the stage, right? And then save, and then go here. You can save it at one shot also, but just not to lose the work, I'm saving it. I click here, again go to drop, select the artifacts. You're good so far. So staging is good. Next is what? After UAT, we need something called protection, right? So let's add one more. Azure App Service Deployment. This time stage name is nothing but the production. I'm going to name this as production. We are good. Again, same thing. I'm going to choose the job or the task. Naming is good. Azure subscription is nothing but our service principal. So go and choose the service principal. Alright, if you choose a different service principal, it's going to deploy something else, like to somewhere else. But we are referring to one specific resource group. Okay, so we are good. Again, same. Select the drop location. Okay, generally speaking, many companies in many projects build is same, environment is different. There are projects where the build itself is different, so according to the scenario it is handled, but this is very simple scenario. All 4 stages are done. Great. And then now how do we stop it or allow us to make an approval concept? So click on that and say post deployment approval. If you select post deployment approval as enable, what will happen is after QA deployment is done, okay, somebody will be notified, like managers or somebody who can approve to the next stage, and then it's going to trigger and wait for it, and we're going to see that in a moment. Okay, so in this case I'm going to add this. So I'm choosing my own username. Basically the users that are coming as approval here, they belong to the users of this organization. So remember, you cannot just give your Gmail ID or something or somebody's email ID. They have to be a part of this user here itself. Similarly, I'm going to choose a post deployment approval for the UAT, which means after UAT, before it goes to production, it will wait. Somebody has to come and approve. Let's say something is wrong in stage. The release pipeline will be stopped. Nobody is going to deploy the content to the production. Something get fixed. The next pipeline will start. Okay. So here also everything looks good. So we have set up 2 approvals. One is after QA, we have to approve it in order to go to stage. After stage, somebody has to approve it in order to go to the production. Alright, so this is all done. Everything looks good. I'm going to trigger and see how it works. So there are 2 ways of doing, right? So continuous deployment, that comes under the after the continuous integration. And we are going to set up that in a moment. So you see there is something called, so let's go to variable. Okay, let's go to pipeline. You see this, the thunder symbol. If you click on it, it will ask you continuous deployment trigger, which means if there is a build, immediately there will be a release created. That is what it means. So continuous integration, continuous deployment. First time alone, for demo purpose, I'm going to trigger it manually. I can choose all the environment, or I can choose just 2 environment and see what happens. Create, pipeline got created. I can go there. It's under waiting, so I will say deployment multiple. This is just a manual process, bear with me. I'll show you how it works. Automatically triggers. So deploy, both have triggered. This is a free version, so the agent is nothing but Microsoft will give a free agent for people like us. So it's like we just need to wait. It will do one by one. The first one is deployed, and then for this it is waiting for the QA. Like in general, in company they have their own self-hosted agents. Will be super fast, but we are using free versions, so we have to wait. It's okay to wait for a few seconds. So deployment for the development is done. QA has been hosted, like it's been waited. You see this QA UAT stage is all Windows. Development alone is Linux. Now this is also triggered. Now there is an approval process, right? If you approve, it will go to the next stage, which is the UAT. The moment I approve, you see the next one is queued, because it is telling that okay, you looks like you verified and everything looks to be good. This code can go to UAT now. That is what it means. Okay. So I'm going to quickly open up all of these websites which we have created in Azure Web App, like the development, QA, staging, production, all of those 4 things I'm going to open. So the one that you're seeing is a stage. If I open, stage is getting built, like getting deployed. It's not done yet. That's why you can see this kind of thing. And I'm going to open up the QA. This is QA. No, this is development. Okay, the one that I'm opening is development. The one I'm going to open is the production. I will change this to, okay, so the one that I'm opening right now is QA, because I know what is what configured. The final one is the production also. Okay, so we're going to do everything. So let's close up. See, UAT is still running. Let's see everything is working. This is stage. One staging is done. I can, okay, so it's done. I can refresh. See, application has been deployed. Looks good. So all of these things are deployed, and I can decline the existing one. I can do several things, or I can just leave the, so the final one is the production one. Hold on, let me open up production. So we know production is not deployed yet, so before we click on any of this stuff. So come here. I'm not going to approve for production, okay? Instead, I'm going to decline it, just to see how it works, right? Sometimes you'll wanted to know, not for production, the code is not ready. So, or something went wrong, I wanted to decline it. Failed, that's okay. Okay, this is just for demo purpose. Now, let me trigger this build through the code. So, how do you trigger it? I would like to go to the code base, which is in the main branch, and the moment I go, I wanted to just edit some file which will eventually trigger this main branch to start a build. That's my whole idea. So I'm gonna go just like that, imagining somebody has pushed and merged a PR that relates to the main branch. Okay, this is just for manual purpose. If it happens to be a trigger, like a PR trigger, a pull request, and then merging a code to the main branch, this trigger will automatically happen. The moment I commit, it knows something has been changed to the main branch, so it got triggered. Okay, so you can see 2 things. The one which I'm opening right now is my old one. I'm going to stop for a second, because if I don't stop, it's going to take a lot of time for me to give a demo. So let's go to the demo purpose. See, it got triggered. It's now waiting for the job to be picked up by an agent. Agent means it's just systematically some thread representing it. Okay, so you can see QA and development is getting triggered. It's going to deploy one by one, though it is parallel, only because we just have only one agent. See, both are queued. As long as both are queued, which means both are doing it in parallel. So once the QA is done, I'm going to trigger the approve, so that goes to UAT to speed up the demo purpose. So basically, I like everything is deployed. The moment I say approve, it's going to deploy to the production as well. Okay, so we already saw until stage, and I wanted to see how the production looks, and this is how the multi-stage process happens, right? Based on where you connect the stage, the flow continues. See, now we went until production for different site, and you can say everything is green. Like this, so many release pipelines will come in general for a given project, for a given code base, and based on which is finalized, that code alone will show green in the production area. Remaining and all shows red or green based on release pipeline is succeeding or not. So I hope you enjoy this video. This is how you build and deploy the Angular application, Angular 18, to the Azure Web App using service principle and then multi-stage deployment, right? We did not use any credentials, no FTP, nothing this time. Everything is perfect. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to try this by yourself, so it will help for your interviews and your for self-learning knowledge. All right, if you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section, and if you're interested with a specific video, please do let me know in the comment section as well, and I'll try to make those videos as soon as possible. Thank you for watching, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Happy coding. Bye bye.